Very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to study the new chapter from physics, chapter number 6, mechanical properties of solids. You know about solids, how the structure of solid is. Solid is made up of large number of small molecules or atoms, and they are arranged in such a way that their intermolecular distance between any two molecules are fixed. The molecules inside the solid do not move each other. The intermolecular force of attraction between any two solid molecules is very large, and because of that the solids are having definite shape and size. That means in case of solid, the atoms and molecules are arranged in a certain geometrical arrangement. Even if the forces are applied on the solid, because of that forces also, the shape and size of the body does not change. It remains unchanged, and because of that we have said that some solids are known as a rigid body. What is meant by a rigid body? So rigid body is a solid substance or solid body in which whenever we are applying forces on that body, because of that forces also, the shape and size of the body does not change. Such body is known as a rigid body. Now we have to study in this chapter mechanical properties of solids. We have to study some properties of solids which are possessed by the solid material, such as what is meant by elastic bodies, what is meant by plastic bodies, how the behavior of elastic body and plastic body, that we have to consider in this chapter, which is mechanical properties of solids. So here it is, in order to consider the mechanical properties of solids, we consider the concept of the deforming force of a body. What is meant by deforming force? The first definition from this chapter, that is what is deforming force. Suppose we consider this rubber. When the force is applied to the rubber, that means when the rubber is pulled to the both sides, the shape and size of this rubber changes. And if we remove the force, the rubber again regain its original shape and size. Similarly, the second example is, suppose this is the balloon. आपण हा बलून घेतलाय आणि इफ व्हेन हा बलून मध्ये जेव्हा आपण हवा भरतो त्यावेळेस त्याचं शेप साइज व्हॉल्यूम चेंज होतो लाईक दिस. ह्या बलून वरती आपण एक्सटर्नल फोर्सेस अप्लाय केले सगळ्या बाजूकडनं, तर ह्या बलूनचा शेप चेंज होतो, आणि हे फोर्सेस रिमूव्ह केले की बलून परत आपल्या ओरिजिनल डायमेन्शन्सला येतो. हे जे एक्झाम्पल्स आहेत, these examples we can say from these examples the forces which we have applied in order to have the change in shape, size or both of the body is known as a deforming force. कारण ह्या फोर्स मुळे हे जे मटेरियल आहे, ह्या मटेरियलचं शेप काय झालाय, चेंज झालाय, साइज चेंज झालेली आहे. मग अशासाठी जो फोर्स आपण अप्लाय केलेला आहे की ज्याच्यामुळे त्या बॉडीचं डिफॉर्मेशन होतं, त्या बॉडीचं शेप आणि साइज चेंज होतं, दॅट इज नोन ॲज ए डिफॉर्मिंग फोर्स. In this case, when the rubber band is taken, if you apply the force, its length changes. ह्याची लेंथ इन्क्रीज झालेली दिसते आपल्याला, आणि हा फोर्स रिमूव्ह केला, इट अगेन कम्स इन टू इट्स ओरिजिनल लेंथ. म्हणजे या ठिकाणी हा रबर बँड आपण फोर्स अप्लाय करून त्याची लेंथ चेंज केली आहे, म्हणजे तो डिफॉर्म केलाय. मग त्यासाठी आपण जो फोर्स अप्लाय केलाय दॅट इज नोन ॲज ए डिफॉर्मिंग फोर्स. The forces which produces deformation in the body, that is known as a deforming force. Clear? Deforming force कशाला म्हणायचंय, ज्या फोर्स मुळे त्या बॉडीचा शेप साइज किंवा दोन्ही मध्ये चेंज होतो, that is called as a deforming force. And because of this force, there is a change in shape, size or both of the body, and body will appear in the new form, that is called as a deformation of a body. This is deformation of a body. The deformation of a body may occur in the terms of change in length of that body, change in volume of that body, as well as change in shape of that body. So deformation we can consider of three types. When the deforming forces are applied to the body, there is a change in the length of that body. For example, rubber band. If the deforming forces are applied to the body, there is a change in volume and shape of the body. We said that the deformation associated with the change in volume and is also associated with the change in shape of that body. So these two important definitions we have to study from this chapter, that is deforming force and deformation of a body. So you clear these two definitions. Deforming force म्हणजे काय आहे आणि deformation म्हणजे काय आहे. Now with related to deforming force and deformation of a body, we have to consider two more definitions, two more terms from this chapter, and that first one is the elasticity of a body. Now why, as we know, as we have studied here, when the forces are applied to the body, it changes its shape and size. When the forces are removed, it comes into its original shape and size. Why this is so? Because in order to have change in the shape, we have to apply force, otherwise its shape and size does not change. But when it is in the deformed state like this, and if we remove this deforming force, it again regain its original dimensions, it again regain its original shape and size. Why this is so? Because there is one term which is involved in this article, and that is known as a internal restoring force. When the deforming forces are applied, it gets deformed, its length changes, its shape and size changes. But when the deforming forces are removed, the internal restoring forces which are stored in this rubber band tries to take this rubber band again towards its main shape or size. Because of that, what we say here, it is one more important term we have to consider, that is the internal restoring force. And this internal restoring force always develops in the body, and they tries to take that body again into its original shape and size. So one more term also we have to introduce here, that is called as internal restoring force. आपल्याला कुठल्याही ऑब्जेक्टचं शेप आणि साईज चेंज करायचा असेल तर फोर्स अप्लाय करावा लागतो, आणि हा फोर्स रिमूव्ह केल्याबरोबर तो परत ओरिजिनल साईजला येतो. पण हे कशामुळे होत असणार आहे, तर त्या बॉडीमध्ये आतल्या आत जे इंटरनल रिस्टोर्ड फोर्सेस आहेत, हे फोर्सेस हे काम करतात. ते फोर्सेस त्या ऑब्जेक्टला परत आपल्या ओरिजिनल डायमेन्शन्स मध्ये किंवा ओरिजिनल शेप आणि साईज मध्ये आणण्याचा प्रयत्न करतात. ओके.